Welcome back to the news today. This is the Daily Debate. Arab Israelis observed a general strike today to protest a wave of demolitions of Arab homes. The strike is also a protest against what Arab Israelis see as a growing tide of racism and incitement against their community and the community here in Israel, which culminated in Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's infamous remark on Election Day, calling on right-wing Israelis to vote because, as he said, Arabs are going in droves to the polling booths each and every time. Just with me in the studio now to discuss this attitude of Israel's majority towards its Arab minority are Sami Shehadeh, Secretary General of the Arab Ballot Party in Tel Aviv, Jaffa. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for coming. And Briggs, Director of International Department at the Regavim organization. Good evening. Thank you very much for coming. So I will start here to understand it was very significant today. It was very significant, let's say, this protest, because it says something. It says that maybe going out and saying, stop and start treating us the same equal way like we should be treated.
Well, to be honest, this is not a new attitude, but I think I'm feeling that in the last few months, the media is a little bit more open to hear this Arab shouting that has been existing against demolitions of housing and all these racist policies. You can see a little bit more understanding from the media in general, not just the foreign media, of the basic claims of the Arab-Palestinian minority in Israel and their basic things to stop racism, to stop destroying the. And imagine today what happened. And you have thousands of people going out to Tel Aviv, not to ask for big things or big thing from the budget or something, but just to ask the Israeli government to stop destroying the homes of citizens. Okay, this is something that in the normal democratic world does not happen. Okay, you have, and we are talking about tens of thousands of people who are threatened that the state might destroy their house with totally crazy sayings that they are not illegal, but in the same time you have maybe something just in the Negev desert, in the southern area of Israel, yes, 80,000 Arab Bedouins that their house should be demolished according to these crazy laws, because Israel never took their interests and their existence into consideration in the master plans of the Negev. And it's easy to tell the people that you are not building legally, but you're not giving them any chance to build legally because they are out of your any master plan.
I want you to react to that, because I'm coming from Dimona, and just traveling along in the last 10 years, I'm seeing like totally different geography, totally different, let's say, not even geography, like it's like new villages in the desert, in the south of Israel, that are, and you're saying who's controlling them?
Okay.
Who's controlling them? Who is in charge that this situation got to thousands and thousands of tents, of homes being built, and nobody controlled that and nobody saw it happening? And the first reaction that I had in my mind was, what will happen when it will explode? Then the government will, wake up and say, we didn't pay attention to this, and now it's exploding in our faces.
It's too late by then. No one wants it to explode. We need to find solutions for it today. Now let's just talk a bit about fact and not rhetoric. Demolitions. There were 3 illegal houses demolished in Damash, which has 150 illegal dwellings in it. There was one up in Kfar Kana a few weeks ago, and a year and a half ago there was one in Abu Shakriya. That's the central area, Damash, but just 5 miles from here, between Lod and Ramla, and in the north of the country. Those are the only demolitions that have happened north of Tel Aviv. If we talk about the Negev, we have a situation, as you said, where over the last 10 years there have sprung up many, many villages, and we have counted hundreds of these villages, and within those, tens of structures being built. Now,
I don't know even to call it villages.
Yeah,
it's just like
hamlets, clusters. Really, you can.
Tribes are gathering up together in this, because I see it like
without any master plan from the
without
state.
any master plan.
That
Yes,
could
definitely
help them develop in any way. By the way, and we are talking about tens of thousands of citizens.
For sure. But
yes,
if we
I know because I see it.
They don't have electricity in their homes in Israel. 2015.
Let's speak
People
about
don't
equality.
have water supplies.
Let's speak about
We will
equality.
speak about
The Israel Land Administration gives to Bedouin males at the age of 20, living in these places, a dunam of land in towns that already exist or villages that already exist. This does not happen for anyone else in the country. So let's talk equality. Okay, there is a government plan that's separate from the Prava plan, the Begin plan. This does not need a Knesset motion. This is something that exists today, as well as free grazing land. When I say free, 1 shekel for each dunam grazing land that any Bedouin living in the Negev can take advantage of. Now, if we also look at the case of the Supreme Court, let's talk about equality.
If he will give up his land.
Let's talk about
let's talk about equality.
Equality.
If you're talking about facts, it could be nice to be really accurate. If he has to leave a few hundred dunams in order to take 1 dunam and 1 shekel in the towns that the state had decided from him that he has to leave.
Are you saying that a Bedouin at the age of 20 has hundreds of dunams?
What I'm trying to understand is that
how does a Bedouin at the age of 20 have hundreds of dunams? How is this possible? He's 20 years old. Where did they come from?
I tell you, it's very easy. The Bedouin tribes in the Negev before the war of 1948 were much bigger. During the war of 1948, the Zionist project expelled something like 90,000 Bedouins out of the 110,000. These people had land before that. By the way, most of the Bedouins that we are talking about in the Negev have papers that they own their land.
Those papers don't stand up in court. We have courts in this country. They weren't expelled. They left with the Egyptian army. They were fighting on behalf of the Egyptian army. It was the independence war. And some also left with the Jordanian army because they were fighting on their behalf. But there were many Bedouins who were fighting with the Palmach and the Haganah. So remember, it was a war, and some took the side of the enemy, and some took the side of the victorious party.
Before we were continuing, and of course I will let you discuss this. I am Rav Savir that just was here, was at the protest today, and I want to show also the protest today in central Tel Aviv. Here's more from there.
More than 300 protesters gathered at Rabin Square on Tuesday evening to call for an end to the destruction of homes in Arab towns.
We believe that this topic is one of the hotly contested ones, and we will continue. We will write letters to all the embassies in the world, to international courts. This protest is just one, and they will continue.
The number of homes being demolished has increased in recent weeks. The government claims it demolishes the homes because they were built illegally. Homeowners say housing is a problem. There's a shortage, and the government isn't helping.
We are calling Jewish citizens, Jewish parties, Jewish politicians to join us in this struggle because it's a civic struggle, and we choose Tel Aviv in order to say it loudly that we will continue to struggle in order to prevent demolition of houses.
The protest was advertised on social media, and demonstrators were brought into Tel Aviv from all over the country on these buses to take part. Police and Border Patrol kept guard in an area between the two sides in the square, but little opposition showed. Those who did reiterated the houses should be demolished because they're illegal.
It's according to the law. They're not destroying them for no reason. When they come to the heart of Israel, in Tel Aviv, in the first Jewish state, the first Hebrew city, and wave Palestinian flags with such confidence, I don't see any reason not to come and protest against them.
The Arab community also took part in a nationwide strike on Tuesday in hopes of making their voices heard.
First of all, this is making me proud that there is a quiet demonstration in the middle of Tel Aviv and no big riots, and this is a good sign. But
it has never been different.
What?
It has never been different.
No, I'm not talking about the Arab. I'm saying that the demonstration was quiet and it was nobody tried to. No, I'm not saying it from the Arabic side. Don't take it for this side. I'm saying that it was quiet and around the world we're seeing violence, and here it's quiet. Some people are protesting from this side, and people are protesting in this side, and then it's accepted, and it's okay because we didn't see this kind of demonstration happening in Protective Edge and being accepted in the same way. So it's good. It's good. It's a positive sign. What I'm trying to ask, and I just don't want to take it to 48. I want to take it to reality.
Let's talk about today, Lucy.
What?
Let's talk about.
No, I'm talking about
the Bedouins went today.
Let me go with something because I am trying to go with something.
تفضلي.
I'm saying I will begin with what I already started, because I was living in the south of Israel for all my life. I saw the amount of people that were living there when I was a child, and I see the amount of lands that are being taken or people are living in right now, like during the years, at least during the last 10 years. So if people are saying that these are their lands that they own these lands. So where were they, 10 years ago when there were really a lot of empty lands during all this period of time? So we cannot ignore the fact that you were not there just 10 years ago and now you are there. And on the other side, I agree that the state needs to find a solution because people cannot live in the conditions that they're living in right now. The question is, why the Bedouin, for example, are not accepting the solution that the state is offering?
The proper program. And the state has offered a totally crazy program that would take all the land from the Bedouin community and put them in concentrating zones, like what's happening in very bad words.
The terminology is very bad.
Yeah,
seriously.
Of course, because the program is very bad.
Come on, you cannot.
It's not terminology. The Israeli policies are very bad and racist. This is why when you describe them, they are heard very bad. But these are the policies. The issue here, Lucy, in the Bedouins and in Kufur Kanna, excuse me,
the Supreme Court rules.
I will let you answer, and I won't let
in
you
Israel,
disturb
it's very important to do very big difference between legal and legitimate. The Jewish majority can run any laws they like to, also very racist things, because we don't have any normal democratic constitution in this state. And the majority are racist, and it's very easy to run racist laws. What happens usually is that they have the majority to do anything. By the way, in numbers, when we are talking about illegal building, the big numbers are in the settlements. Not just according to the international law, but according to the Israeli master plans, the vast majority of the illegal building is either in the settlements, by the way, or in the kibbutzim and in the mushafim. And you don't say the state destroying there.
Let's let him answer, yes.
First of all, Migron, 50 families destroyed down to zero. So don't say they don't get destroyed, and that's after the government itself made a mistake. But let's talk about the Negev, because he's way off when he talks about Judea and Samaria and Jews living there as being illegal. But let's talk about the Negev, because that's what he brought up. It's another problem, and the north of the country doesn't speak about, because the figures show only 1 or 2 demolitions in the last 2 years. But let's talk about the Negev. What is offered to the Bedouin citizens of Israel in the Negev is unprecedented. A soldier can serve for 10 years on every battlefront, but he doesn't get offered a dunam of land for him. He has to fight, and it's a free market for housing in Israel for Jews. They have to go and fight, take a mortgage, borrow from wherever.
The Bedouins are going to the army as well.
Of course,
I'm not. A lot of them,
and they should have the same rights as everyone else.
They're not getting their rights.
They should have the same rights as everyone else, but the Bedouin actually get more rights, okay? Because they have governments offered more from the government. I'm not talking about the private plan that's not in place. I'm not talking about the Begin plan. I'm talking about plans that are on the paper today, that every Bedouin reaching the age of 20 can get a dunam in a town or a village.
If he gives
wait a second,
up his
please,
rights on his land.
Let me continue. And every additional wife he has, he gets an extra dunam. Okay, 4 wives, 4 dunams. That's the law, and he gets 1 shekel for each dunam of grazing land.
Additional wives are illegal in Israel.
Really? You should tell some members of Knesset this as well, because I know it's illegal, but it's not.
But it's not like that.
We have a system with religious baked-in. Thank you. You lived in Dimona. You know what went on. I can show you some houses in Al Said, which are 4 stories, 1 story for each wife. Okay, but they also get, when they divorce them inaccurately, they also get an extra 1,500 shekels per wife, because they're now single mother, and again it goes to the husband of the Bedouin.
The whole question of what we're talking about is question of planning. Since 1948 till today, the Bedouin community in the Negev desert has been out of any serious decision-making process that got to do with planning their present and their future. This has been the present and the problem since 1948 till today. Same with planning when we are talking inside this Jewish state with anything that got to do with land and planning. The Israeli Land Authority, which is controlling 94% of the land inside the state, is totally controlled by Jews and works from their point of view to plan for the interest of other Jews. And when they are talking about developing the Negev, for example, developing the Negev goes with Jewidizing the Negev. Okay, it goes together. And for them, it looks totally normal, because they vote for this, they have a majority to do that. But what's happening here is that the Arab-Palestinian minority are nearly out of any serious decision-making process that got to do with planning when we are talking about land. When we are talking about land and planning, the Israeli state deals with us as enemies.
And I want your reaction because on the other side, I will tell you that I lived in Dimona, but my parents are coming from Nazareth, and I see the discrimination. I see the discrimination against Arabs. I see the discriminations inside Arab villages, and you cannot ignore it. You cannot say it doesn't exist.
100%, and a big compromise is needed, especially in the Negev. But you know, if your parents come from Nazareth, that upper Nazareth, the non-Jewish, the Arab population, the minority population has grown there, and no one is stopping them from going there because Israel, any person, any non-Jew can go anywhere they like and buy an apartment.
You cannot
you have to buy. I didn't get land.
You cannot buy land.
No Jew gets land.
Exactly
no Jew gets given land. I didn't get given land.
You are going to
what
buy,
they're
but
asking,
go and buy.
I have to buy land. It's illegal for me to buy in Segev Shalom. It's illegal for me to buy in Lakia. It's illegal for me to buy in
Maybe the three of
Now
us
that's all right.
I have to wrap.
We have to go together.
Gentlemen, it was a great discussion. It was a great discussion. Have to go out there. We'll continue fighting. Maybe I will bid with them somewhere.